Hey, 8th grade, this is Mrs. Gardner, and this is your video for finishing on your organic geometric design project. And I had put up an assignment in Schoology on Monday that I hope you opened up and read. And by now you should have seen an earlier video on how to start, and you should have looked at a PDF file. It had a lot of instructions and a lot of really cool samples. So the one you see in front of you now is a student one that I think is really nice. But today we're going to talk about using a little bit of color. Some of you are probably already doing that with some of your color pencils. You're welcome to use a little bit of gel pens too if you'd like to, maybe even some markers. But don't forget the colored pencils that you went home with. I want you to learn to take some colors, and notice that you should have more than just a couple. I mean, have several going on where you can layer them to create new blends and brand new colors. So you're going to be blending and layering. This is a neat one because it looks like a bunch of stacked lima beans all together. We're creating patterns. So you needed to have some kind of geometric pattern, which basically means a pattern that can be broken down into mathematical kind of shapes like squares, triangles, circles. So you see like a couple different types of squares in the background, and then you have some triangles, circle, triangle, circle, some alternating patterns. That's the way this student chose to do it. And then some organic design, organic shapes that are more unpredictable, more irregular. That's why I say they look like lima beans. And also, the organic pattern here counts as an organic edged segmented pattern. In other words, it looks like it has little segments or pieces stuck together. And then I'll just show you one more before I show you about the pencils. Here's a neat one. This is the organic edged segmented pattern. Each little section has its own edge to it. All right, and then here's one that was like a sample that was started. So the first stage was just using regular pencil. So you can draw guidelines if you want to. Now, here's a shape I just put in there. An organic edged segmented pattern isn't just taking a shape and candy caning it like that. That would not count. I mean, you're welcome to have designs like that, but for it to count, it means each individual section has its own thing going on. So it doesn't have to be all rounded like this. Here's one that a student did that looks like flames, which is really interesting. But an easy way is just to kind of pop out each section. You can always, erase some of this if you want to. Okay, but going beyond that, you had a stage where you used a little bit of newspaper underneath, and you took a permanent marker or a Sharpie that you went home with, and you went over your most important lines. And then going into the next stage, you just make sure that you erase any old pencil lines that you don't want. Because once you start with colored pencil, it's going to really just seal in any regular pencil marks and actually make them darker. If I don't get those out of there, then you'd be surprised. I could take a yellow colored pencil over old lines and it makes them really dark. Now, moving on to color. See the section right here that's finished, these two sections. Notice how I made them darker along the side, so I'll go ahead and do a little bit of that. I'm going to kind of shade the outer edge side right onto that black outline. I'm going to come to the other side and shade. And then if I wanted to, I could now that's going to help it be darker on the sides, so like it's kind of popping up in the middle where it's brighter. But if I wanted them also to kind of roll up and down, I could even put a little extra shadow where my black outlines are right there. I'll just do a little bit there. If I press harder, of course, I get a darker value. Now I'm going to switch to a red. You can mix whatever colors you want to. Let some of your second color overlap your first color. So wherever this red hits paper, it's going to be red. Wherever it hits some of that old purpley color, it's going to make a nice kind of rich reddish purple there. And remember, you can be mixing whatever colors you want to. And I'm just going to switch to a much lighter color. Now, wherever this yellow hits white, white paper is going to be yellow. But wherever it hits that red, I'll get some interesting kind of glowy oranges, even though I didn't have an orange pencil. Now, if yellow hits that purple, it'll make a really odd, interesting kind of color. They're opposites on a color wheel, yellow and purple are. So you'll get an interesting mix. So the neat thing is you'll see many different colors, not just the colors of the pencils you chose. And let's see. So I have some bright highlights to make it look like it's popping up, trying to make it a little bit of a three-dimensional kind of illusion. Now, you can also do drop shadows like this one, where you make it stronger and darker right along the edge, and then let it lighten up as it comes into these spaces. That's a nice kind of effect where it makes your shapes pop forward. And another thing to consider, let me get that other project back out, are warm colors versus cool colors. Warm colors like reds and oranges and yellows will pop nicely or stand out nicely next to cool colors. Cool colors are like greens and blues, okay? So you'll notice that it'll kind of make it kind of stand out. So on this one, they put a cool color shape and a warm color shape, and they really stand out from each other. So play around with your colors, and you'll notice that you need to have kind of a strategy. They've repeated certain arrangement of colors over and over again. Looks like a neat keyboard going on there. So, and when you finish up, several ways you can choose from to actually turn your project in. One way is to get onto your Schoology assignment. Click into it, and when you want to submit a photo, if you've already taken a picture of it, you can press there's a plus sign in the upper right-hand side of the Schoology assignment, where if you press it, it should say something about submitting a photo, and then you can select it and submit it. If you haven't taken a photo, you could probably take a photo with your Chromebook. Try that. There's a little camera icon picture that's in the lower left. If you press on that, you could use your Chromebook to take a picture and then select that image and post it up to Schoology, submit it. Another way I've had people in the past is take a photo and attach it to an email and send it to me that way. And I don't care if it's a photo or a video, whichever way. And if all else fails, you can, even though you're not coming back to art class when we go to quarter 2, you can still bring it back and show it to me. So choose one of those ways. So again, if you have trouble with submitting it online, then I do need proof that you finished your project because it's worth 100 points. So, if you can't do it within the Schoology assignment, it's okay to just bring your project in and drop by early in the week we come back and show me your project, and that would be absolutely fine. But if you submit it early during Schoology, then you won't have to bring it back. You can just keep it at home, okay? So remember that a lot of these different videos and PDFs and rubrics and things and instructional, these are already posted in Schoology. So make sure you've really read them all from last week and also from this week before you submit yours. Okay, good luck.